Welcome back to another video, and today we are boiling our maple sap, making maple syrup. So this is the evaporator here that I picked up. It's basically just a barrel with two pans on it. And then I got a little duct blower going into a duct to try to get my fire going a little bit better. I've had this going now for at least an hour, and I still don't have anything boiling, but it looks like it's close. So hopefully I get some boiling soon. I don't have the best firewood, my firewood pile here, but this is mostly green. Yeah, also not the best species. A lot of box elder, aspen, mulberry, elm, but a lot of it's green. So we'll work it through it, and we'll see if we can get some stuff boiling here. Hopefully this is good enough now to get us to boil. It's been about 20 minutes. Still doesn't look like it's really boiling, but definitely steam coming off of it. I think I'm gonna go get the thermal imaging camera to see what the temperature is like. So on the thermal here, you can see that we just weren't getting enough heat to boil everything sufficiently. I did end up figuring this out. I didn't get it figured out this day, but the next day I did get it figured out. But you can see we were only at like 100 degrees in that first pan and about 140 in the second pan. You would think that this would boil. I mean, the barrel's at almost 300 degrees, and even parts of the pan are 270 or so degrees, like towards the back there. I mean, that pan looks plenty hot to boil, but it just wasn't enough heat to actually get it to sufficiently boil like I thought it should. Alright, so thermal imaging camera set about 140-ish. This says about 150, 160. This is our preheat side. This side doesn't get as hot. And this one's at, like 110-ish. 100, 110. Looks like this gets really hot right next to this. Right next to the edge there. Just the way the fire burns, and because it's closer to the chimney. It does seem like it's maybe getting a touch thicker. The idea is you get this side boiling, and then you scoop this stuff over into here, and then you put your new stuff in here so you don't kill your boil. Mine doesn't look like it's boiling like crazy, but it does seem like it's steaming, and it has gone down a little bit. So we'll move a little bit over. Check on our fire. Yeah, it's going good now. See, these were frozen this morning, solid. And they're still not completely thawed. This one's getting there. Probably a bad day to do this. It's so cold. It's only like 20 degrees out. And last night I was down into single digits. We had this real warm weather and then it got cold. So that's probably not helping my cause here. I think I'm going to add a little bit more into this preheat side. This side's pretty dirty. I put this in here when it was ice and then had some impurities in it. So I guess we'll just have to make sure we filter it real good, since I didn't filter it when I put it in, because it was ice when I put it in. So the idea is that we let this boil, and as it boils, the water evaporates, and then you kind of get the concentrated version, which is the syrup. So I guess we'll just let it sit for another half hour or so and then come back and check on it again. Okay, it's been about another 20 minutes. And temperature doesn't seem like it's changed hardly at all. Guess we'll just check back again in another 20 minutes or so. Hopefully something starts happening soon. Otherwise it's gonna get dark. And I'm not gonna have anything done. Should be a real bummer. I don't feel like I could get much of a fire going in this. I've got the fan. Well, we'll just wait and see. So this here is the next day. I had some trouble getting the water to boil sufficiently, and I ran out of daylight, so I had to start up again the next day. And I think what I had figured out the problem was is that the wood I was using was just too wet. So this day I had used more dry wood and just mixed some wet wood in occasionally, and that seemed to work a lot better. And this, when I was doing this here, we had this down to a pretty good science here, where you get where the back one was boiling pretty viciously, and then the front one was staying around like 130 to 160. So we'd add our sap to the front one, and then put it into the back one as the level in that tub went down. You have to go kind of slow.
Yep, I got you.
Not gonna, you know what I mean? Trying to dump it right on my hand and burn me. Be less than ideal. Oh yeah, that would definitely fit in here.
Oh yeah. I dump a lot of turkey juice at work. I get it. Suspense.
See, in this inside filter you can change when it's running real slow, but I think we're just going to dump it and then we'll just let it sit.
You get a good amount in there. It's a pretty
It's coming out, just not coming out liquid like lightning fast, but it's coming out.
Must be a hell of a filter.
Yeah, if you had to filter like a lot of this, you'd be here for a minute.
Well, big time. We're already gonna be here for a minute. I don't even know.
The guy I bought these from, he said he just lets his fill up overnight, and it just lets them drain overnight. Yeah, we're not going to get much out of this, but
I get a bottle of syrup. Put some pancake.
it'll be the most expensive syrup I've ever had. Okay, so we moved aside now to do our final boiling. I think it's pretty close. It felt like it was just starting to float on our hydrometer here, and I thought I didn't have enough control with the fire, so I'm bringing it inside to do the last tiny little bit. Yeah, we started with about 10 or 11 gallons, and there's only probably 2 inches of liquid in this pot. So we're not going to end up with all that much in the end. I went through and figured out how much this like 1 bottle of maple syrup is going to cost me. And I spent $150 on buckets and lids, $310 on the evaporator that I bought off Facebook, $40 on the fan plus a duct to help keep my fire going a little bit better, $44 on taps and tubing, $42 for the hydrometer, $39 for all the filters, $40 for all the bottles, and $75 for the rack to sit, for the wood to sit off of the bottom of the barrel, and a poker, bringing the total cost of this one batch of maple syrup to $740. So you're definitely not going to be doing this to save any money. Maybe if you did it long enough, I mean, if you do it long enough, you're going to, this isn't just going to be the cost for the first, you don't have the same cost every batch, but you definitely not be doing it to save any money. But it is fun to do. You learn something, maybe a little bit of self-reliance, I guess. I was hoping to do a little bit more with my kids, but maybe on the next batch I'll keep them involved a little bit more. So our temperature we're at now, let's see what that's at. We're at 214. So I'm going to put that in the hydrometer here and see if we're floating yet. I got this in a bowl, so hopefully it's not super messy. I really should have a better spoon for this or something. Alright, let's see here. A little bit too much in there. Okay, we are floating. We're at about 50, 54, and I think we're trying to get to about 60, looks like 61. But it's floating now, and it wasn't floating before, so it's a step in the right direction.
A few moments later.
Go try and test it again. Got too much in there, I think. Okay. Still got too much in there. That's it, we're like right there. Right at the 60. Or the 59 rather. So I'm calling that done. So we'll take this off, we'll let it cool to 190 or so, and then bottle it. Okay, I've let it cool, so now dump it into here. This went through my other filter really slow, so hopefully it goes through this one faster. We've already filtered it once. I don't know if it's really that necessary to filter it again, but we'll do it anyway, I guess. Okay, that's definitely going to take some time. This process here of filtering the syrup into the jar was even slower than the first time, and this took forever. It took me an hour and a half to fill that one jar up. We ended up with about 1.5 of these jars with our about 10 or 11 gallons of sap that we had. You'll see here in a minute, I have my kids tried it. It ended up tasting really good when it was all done.
Many minutes later.
Try it.
No, I can try.
You can try too. How is it?
Good.
Very good?
Love it.
What do you think?
Good.
Very good?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the best syrup you've ever had?
Yeah.
Yeah, the best ever. That's good. Look how much we got. We got this jar and this cup. That's how much we got so far.
That's a lot.
Cool, huh?